Everything seems to be coming up Steelers, doesn't it, Chris?
I mean, good Lord. I mean, this is why we do a live show, right?
Wow. Wow.
Happy Friday, everybody.
As Eric says, happy Injury Friday. I mean, my goodness.
Jeez.
This is, of course, the Southside Beat, as we are every Monday through Friday from 3 to 3:30 Eastern on DK Pittsburgh Sports, live streaming on YouTube, and later found where podcasts are normally found. He's Chris Halicke. I'm Corey Crisan. We will be joined by a special guest coming up at 3:15 Eastern in about 15 minutes. Chris will drop out, and then we will welcome my friend and soon to be yours, Hayden Grove. He is a social media specialist for Cleveland.com, and he's an insider with the Browns. So we will definitely be getting some really rock-solid perspective on Sunday's matchup from a Browns point of view.
I don't know if that's going to mean if that means that people are going to become friends with them.
We'll see. Hayden's a good guy. But Chris, we'd be remiss if we did not start the show with Joe Burrow, as the Bengals just minutes ago announced that the starting quarterback would be out for the season. This is 2 weeks in a row now in the AFC North, where quarterbacks Deshaun Watson and Joe Burrow have been ruled out for the remainder of the season.
Crazy. I mean, so when that happened last night, now I didn't watch much of the game last night, but when that happened and I saw like the him trying to throw and he couldn't grip the ball at all, I'm like, that's not something that's going to take a week to heal, or like a short amount of time. That looks like it's going to be something that's going to be, I didn't know, out for the year, but geez, like I mean, you talk about okay. So here's what seriously, it's Swan 269 says. Here's what a news day.
It really is,
and this is one thing that for all the criticism that we give the Steelers, they're 6-3, and for all of the and you can talk about this one with what Cam Hayward said, because Cam talking today is big.
Mm-hmm. Let's not forget Mark Andrews either.
Yes. Mark Andrews out for the year. So like all of these things that are happening that kind of line up well for the Steelers. Obviously it's unfortunate for other, and you don't wish injury, or you shouldn't wish injury on anyone else. The Steelers running into a backup quarterback against the Browns. Now they're going to face a backup quarterback against the Bengals. And actually they'll face the Bengals now twice this year because they haven't played them yet. So they'll face the Bengals without Joe Burrow twice this year. It's all working out for the Steelers in terms of like the way luck is having it, even though the Steelers have had their own fair share of injuries.
Yep.
But for all the different things that we talk about, all the different things that we criticize as a team, they are still finding ways to win. And now their schedule is lightening up a little bit down the stretch. Wow. I was I saw that come across my phone. I'm like, obviously, like immediately, okay, that's going on our Steelers feed, and like, what? Wow, I'm I'm speechless. I'm sorry if I have nothing else to say and I'm stammering, but wow.
No, that's okay. By the way, chatters, please be kind to my guy Hayden. He really is a good guy. Reporter for Cleveland.com, covers the Browns. He's not a fan. He's not coming in here to say rah rah. He's in here to give some really good insight and information, because the Browns have to. I mean, this is a huge, monumental game, especially after the outcome from Thursday night with the Ravens beating the Bengals, and now with Joe Burrow out for the season. Like the Bengals' outlook, I mean, it's the same feel, like season's over feel, that you almost think the Browns have. Now, the reason why you can't necessarily say that with the Browns as of right now is, number one, they still have to play Sunday. Number two, that defense is still elite, top two, if not number one in the NFL. So the Browns have a lot more going for it than the Bengals do from that perspective. Mm-hmm. And that's why you can't necessarily say, well, Cleveland's shot. Like, there's still that game to be played Sunday, and we'll see how Cleveland does. And Hayden's going to give really good insight on kind of how they're feeling about Dorian Thompson-Robinson and adjusting to life without Deshaun Watson. Yeah. But that only makes Sunday's game, like before Joe Burrow got injured, it was already massive.
Yeah.
Now, with Joe Burrow out and now Mark Andrews out for the year for the Ravens, this game on Sunday, dare I say, must win. Dare I say, the most important football game of the year. In 2 months' time, at the beginning of January, whether the Steelers make the postseason or not, we are going to look back on this game in Cleveland in Week 11 and say that was the most important win or the most damning loss of the season. I feel that's how I think this game's going to be.
I don't think I think yesterday I felt that way, but I think even yesterday I kind of said this 2-game stretch, and I don't think that it's just this Sunday. I really do think that it was what do the Steelers do with these 2 games here?
Yep.
If they sweep them, obviously that's like okay, now they're 8-3, they're in the driver's seat when it comes to the division, when it comes to maybe even conference seating at that point. That's where the conversation goes. If they split, you're in good shape. You're 7-4 at that point. You got the Bengals to face one more time without Joe Burrow. You got a couple of games in there that are very winnable, like Cardinals and Patriots. All of a sudden, you split these 2 games. I think you're in good shape. You go 0-2. It's looking real grim.
Yep.
And so and now that Joe Burrow is out for the year for the Bengals, I think you can afford to lose Sunday as long as you can follow up and go to Cincinnati and win and come out of these 2 games 7-4. I think that it's it's very, very interesting.
All right, everything's coming up newsy today. It's a big news day, which is why if you read on DKPittsburghSports.com, my story from the South Side today, it was a newsworthy news story, and such is the case when it comes to the Steelers injury report. Just dropped as Chris was talking there.
Oh, there we go.
Minka Fitzpatrick, Keanu Neal, Montravis Adams, all out on Sunday. Out. This is pretty much expected. Montravis Adams told me in the locker room after practice today that he would not play. The target is for him to come back next Sunday against the Bengals. No surprise here. Keanu Neal, Minka Fitzpatrick did not practice all week. Both of them are ruled out by the Steelers. Pat Freiermuth logged 2 days in a row of full practice and is listed as questionable for this game. Cam Hayward, limited practice Thursday and Friday. Deontay Johnson, full practice Thursday and Friday after dealing with a thumb injury. So Deontay's in, Hayward's in, Freiermuth is questionable. Neal, Fitzpatrick, and Adams are all out.
Yeah. Somebody said something here that I wanted to kind of Kevin James, I don't know if that's the famous actor or not. If it is, welcome.
Former high school wrestling teammate of Mick
Foley. He said, y'all forgot we beat Cleveland with Watson. Why does everyone think this game is so far to reach? Because the Browns are a dang good football team.
They're good.
And because the Steelers needed 2 defensive touchdowns in order to win that game. 2 defensive touchdowns are not guaranteed every single game. If they were, then the Steelers would probably go 17-0 or 16-1 or 15-2, something like that, because they'd be doing something completely unprecedented. And that was at home. This is on the road. They don't have their starting quarterback, but they have a quarterback who can go in there and run the same system. He's a dual threat quarterback like Deshaun Watson was. Oh, and by the way, the Browns have, in my opinion, far and away the best defense in the league.
Sure.
In terms of overall, obviously the 49ers, great defense. But in terms of overall, first off, the Steelers passing game, we're talking about all the different things of like why they can't, is it Kenny? Is it Matt Canada? Is it both? Is it, Mike Sullivan involved? Is it the receivers? Is it the pass protection? It's probably all of that, but we're trying to figure it out. Oh, by the way, the Browns have the best pass defense in the league.
That's right.
And I mean, their 2 cornerbacks are ridiculously good. The Browns are also, and what's really helped put the Browns over the top on defense this year is that they're clamping down on the run. I think they're 7th in the NFL against the run. Pair that with best pass defense in the league. Pair that with can get after the quarterback. Pair that with, I think, 3 behind the leaders in terms of takeaways. So they take the ball away too. They're just a phenomenal defensive team. And against the Steelers offense that, yes, has been running the ball a lot better lately. But it still has to find a consistent way to get be productive through the air. But I don't know. And Kevin's saying we aren't the best, but are better. I don't know if I would say the Steelers are a better football team than the Browns right now. The Browns are excellent on one side of the ball when I don't think the Steelers are excellent on either side of the ball. What they are great at right now is taking the ball away as opposed to giving it away. They're the best turnover differential in the league. And then they're also good in the fourth quarter. Very, very good in the fourth quarter, especially over the last 5 games.
Right.
However, if the game's already out of reach by the fourth quarter, it doesn't matter. I mean, you got to keep it close. And I think it will be. And I don't think that this is a blowout either way. I just think that this is in no way a gimme, especially the fact that they beat them by 4 last time and needed 2 defensive touchdowns to do it.
Okay, if you felt your phone vibrate, that was the notification coming in on your DK Pittsburgh Sports app.
There we go.
As Chris was talking there,
that was my little monologue to kind of give a little bit of a preview. I mean, Hayden's going to be coming on here in a few minutes, and I'll drop out. I'll make sure to give my prediction before. And the big news here, my foot, I'm still limping, but it's getting better slowly but surely every day. Thank you.
Still on crutches?
No, I've been walking. Granted, with a limp, but I've been walking without crutches for 3 days. So
okay. So again, if you felt your phone vibrate, that is the DK Pittsburgh Sports app alerting you that of what we just told you, that Minkah Fitzpatrick, Keanu Neal, and Montravis Adams are all out Sunday against the Browns. Pat Freiermuth ruled questionable. Cam Hayward and Deontay Johnson do not carry injury designations. Now for Cleveland. This came from ESPN, nothing official yet, but tackle DeJuan Jones is questionable, and then they will be missing Juan Thornhill, the safety, and Marquise Goodwin, the wide receiver.
I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, I think they were missing Thornhill in week 2 as well, and I think Ronnie McLeod played it in his name, in his place. So I don't think that's too. I think the one big one for me is what are the Browns going to end up missing, if they miss anything at all, but what do they end up missing up front on their offensive line? Because if Wyatt Teller's out for whatever reason, and Crystal, thank you so much for the $2 contribution.
Yeah, thank you, Crystal.
But if Teller and Jones are both out on that's a pretty big blow to the right side of the Browns offensive line for as good as it is. But any kind of leg you can get up on that offensive line, you take it.
See, look, there it is. Paul just said he got the alert. And remember, if you download it's
a free app.
DK Pittsburgh Sports app, you can sign up for those alerts for the Penguins, the Pirates, the Steelers, Pitt, Penn State, and anytime that injury report hits or Montravis Adams tells me that he's not playing hours before that injury report drops, that notification's going right to you in real time. Mm-hmm. So all you have to do is download that free app, clear out the Candy Crush or, whatever game you might be fancying or whatever game might be sitting and gathering cobwebs on your home screen. Clear out some space for that app, and you will definitely thank yourself for that. Hayden is joining us here in a few minutes, but Chris, before that, would you like to give your prediction for Sunday?
Yeah. Somebody said it sounded like I was venting earlier when I was kind of giving. I'm not really venting. It's just those are all like legitimate things that you have to be concerned about when it comes to this game. Listen, I think that this is going to be a slugfest, and I think it is going to be a rather ugly football game. I don't think this is going to be one of those things where each team is putting up 400 yards on offense. Granted, the Steelers haven't done that in forever, but I don't think that this is that type of a football game. These games between the Steelers and Browns usually aren't, with the injuries that each team is dealing with. I just think this is going to end up being an ugly football game. I think it's going to come down to the team that protects the ball the most. The Steelers, for all their deficiencies, are good at taking care of the ball. Kenny, for all of his deficiencies, is not throwing interceptions. He's not losing fumbles. The running, Najee Harris and Jalen Warren are protecting the football with all the running that they're doing now. I like what the Steelers are doing on the ground. Definitely don't think they're going to get 200 yards on the ground. I think they're going to be better on the ground than they were against Cleveland earlier this year. I don't think the Steelers offense scores more than 17 points, honestly. I think the defense might need to kind of aid in that, whether that be an actual defensive touchdown or, but I don't know. I just don't have a lot of confidence in DTR to be completely honest. I think the Browns can run the football really well. But I think at the end of the day, the Steelers come out on top. I think it's going to be, like I said, a really ugly football game. And I'm going to say final score 19-16 Steelers.
Typical AFC North ball, as Mike Tomlin.
I almost want to go like 11-10, but no, I'll say there's some more points scored in there, but I'll say 19-16 Steelers.
Somebody said 13-9 in here. All right, our buddy Hayden Grove is awaiting in the green room, which means Chris will drop out, and we will bring Hayden in.
Happy Friday, happy weekend, everybody. Enjoy. We'll talk Monday.
You got it. All right, there's Chris. Let's get him out, and let's get our buddy, soon to be yours, certainly my friend, Hayden Grove on the main stage right there. There he is. What's up, bud? How you been?
Good to be on, man. How are you?
Thanks, man. Good to have you as well. Things good up there in the off the shores of Lake Erie.
We are happy in Cleveland, as the sweatshirt says.
I don't have a happy in Pittsburgh. This is my high school alma mater. I chose to
there you go.
Today.
There you
All
go.
right, Hayden. Well, obviously a big day in the AFC North. A big day for the Browns and the Steelers when it comes to Joe Burrow being out for the year, and now Mark Andrews out for the year. And obviously for you guys up in Cleveland, you are with Deshaun Watson. You're dealing with all of that and the fallout of his injury, and the faith has been placed in Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Tell us from your inside perspective how the Browns are feeling about DTR, what led to him getting the start, and just the general feel of what's going on up there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, coming off of what was the biggest win for the Browns in 25 years, at least regular season-wise, with the way they won and everything, the way they came back, it was a really, really nice and great feeling for Browns fans after that win. I mean, the excitement was palpable. And then you get a bomb dropped on you on Wednesday, Deshaun Watson out for the year. Nobody expected it. Nobody thought it was coming. And it kind of really dampened the mood. I think if you would have asked anybody in Cleveland after that game against Baltimore, we're going to, Pittsburgh, let's go. Like, they're not taking it for granted, but they're like, they're ready for it. And they were like, we're going to win this game. We have confidence. And now, much like Vegas, it has come back to a pick'em game, and it's like the confidence is not that high. So, DTR, they want to give DTR another shot. He didn't play well against Baltimore the first time around, but it was a completely unfair situation to him, having to be named the starter at 10:30 in the morning and not knowing for the whole week and not having a game plan put out for you. So, it was completely unfair, and the Browns feel like, DTR, they love him. They think he can be, a potential quarterback of the future for them, but they got to give him a shot. So that's what we're going to do this weekend.
Is this kind of the start of that? And that's not to downplay PJ Walker or any of what he's been able to do this year. Like, is this the Browns kind of seeing what they have in DTR in some retrospect?
Yeah, it is. They do have a lot of faith in him. They love the way he works. They love the effort he puts in. They love the mental reps he takes. They love everything about him, just the guy that he is. It's just a matter of, is he going to be ready? He wasn't a first-round pick. He wasn't a second-round pick. He was a late-round pick. And is he going to be ready to face the likes of a Pittsburgh Steelers defense that we know is very, very good? They always get after the quarterback. They always do a great job against the Browns. So that's why they brought in Joe Flacco for a workout today. We'll see if that ends up coming to fruition here. But certainly the Browns do want to give DTR a shot. And I think this week, if he doesn't need to go out and play, hero ball, just manage the game. Don't turn the ball over, and the Browns are going to be happy with that.
Now, real quick, we have a question from our chat here. Swan269 asks, do you think the Browns will sign Joe Flacco? Yeah,
I do. I do think the Browns will sign Joe Flacco. They usually – I don't think they'd bring a quarterback in like that and waste his time and be like, we're not interested. They definitely want to see him work out for sure. But the thing that I will say is that, we don't know – the Browns will never tell us what they want to do. They will show us what they want to do.
Right.
They will never tell us, like – they will never say like, we want to bring in a veteran to back up, to be a coach on the sideline for DTR. And they'll never say, we want to go get a starter because in case DTR stinks. They'll show us. So we'll see if they sign Joe Flacco. I think that's more of like kind of a coach on the sideline thing. I don't think he'll be playing every week just because he doesn't really fit the skill set the Browns offense is kind of catered to at this point. Athletic quarterbacks who can move their legs. But certainly I think that they will sign him in some capacity, yeah.
This running game, it seems like it hasn't missed a beat since Nick Chubb went down. And I remember, obviously, Nick Chubb going down against the Steelers. You and I walking out of the stadium together going, what are the Browns going to do? Like Jerome Ford, how good can he be? What can he be? And it seems like, just from my perspective, that the running game has not missed a single beat. I assume a large point of that is because of how good that offensive line is, but how has this team been able to kind of, I don't want to say seamlessly, but almost seamlessly transition from Nick Chubb into an era of Jerome Ford?
Well, it's actually been more Kareem Hunt, I think. Jerome Ford has kind of been has been definitely a good back for them, but I think Kareem Hunt last year, we watched him and he lost a step, right? He didn't have it. And we were like, okay, it's done. It's over. He lost a good 10, 15 pounds. He's got it back. He found that turbo. The great thing about Kareem Hunt is he runs like he's got this Sonic Hedgehog turbo button that he just uses. Yes. And he missed, and we didn't see that last year. It was gone. It didn't work. And I think this year he got it back. I think he shedded some extra weight, and it just kind of helps him to get that next level. So I think Kareem has really helped. I think Jerome is definitely getting better, and he's coming into his own as well. So I think that two-headed monster certainly helps. But I still do think that they missed Nick Chubb a whole hell of a lot. Some of the runs, some of the cutbacks. I mean, I think that these guys are good, but Nick Chubb would take them to a really, really next level. I
mean, just from the perspective here in Pittsburgh, Mike Tomlin calls Nick Chubb Mr. Chubb.
Yeah.
He calls Myles Garrett Mr. Garrett. Now, I don't know how much higher of a praise that Mike Tomlin could give opposing players than using Mr. in front of their names. So anytime he gives that, it means something. And he did that with Myles Garrett. And this is like season for the ages stuff for Myles Garrett. And the comparisons with TJ Watt and the who's better debate can go on until the cows come home. But what has made this season so special for Myles Garrett? How has he been able to elevate from a status that we already knew that he was such a great player?
I think it has a lot to do with Zadarius Smith. I think it has a lot to do with Dalvin Tomlinson. I think it has a lot to do with this defensive line as a whole. I think they help him because in the past, it was kind of Myles with a Jadeveon Clowney who kind of wasn't necessarily all the way bought in in the second year. And, I think those guys are allowing Myles to have a little more freedom and a little more, a little less in the way of triple teams and double teams. And Myles is being Myles. So it has been absolutely a career year for Myles, and he stepped up in big moments and made big plays in big games. And I think that that's something that we've been missing from Myles. He's been kind of a stat stuffer, but the actual results really haven't been there. This year, he has certainly shown that the results are there. Huge plays pretty much won the Indianapolis game by himself, the way that he was able to, turn the ball over and block the kick and everything that he did in that game. Huge plays against Baltimore last week. So Myles, he's just taken a step up, and I think that, that speaks to his work ethic, the way that he's done it. But I think you also got to give credit to guys like Zadarius Smith, who has been great off the edge as well.
Big steps on and off the field, rather. Taking ownership of the Cleveland Cavaliers in some capacity. That had to be a really cool venture for him. Does this game to you, or to those that are in the walls in Berea, does this feel like a turning point kind of game, given Burrow out for the year, Andrews out for the year, injuries everywhere across the AFC North? Does this get that same feeling in that building?
Yeah, I think the Steelers are the only ones that have avoided that injury bug thus far. I mean, they really haven't had any big ones, or huge ones, I should say, that have been out for the year. I mean, I think it's, at this point, I think the Browns, honest to God, after last week, they were feeling like, okay, this is the biggest game of the season. Like, this is huge. We have to go win this. The mindset's still the same, but I think now it's more of like we lost our guy. We're just gonna, we're gonna go balls to the wall here and see what happens. I think it's one of those situations where they can say all they want that the expectations remain the same and everything remains the same. And I truly believe their hopes and their dreams remain the same, and their goals, they want to get there. But I think the expectation does lessen a little bit, because you don't know what you're going to have in a DTR. So I think that could actually be dangerous for opposing teams, because now it's like they're just going to play with their hair on fire. They know how to fight. They know how to play hard, and they know that they can stay in games. And if DTR can just figure out a way to manage the game, not turn the ball over, maybe make a couple plays with his feet, I think this defense can be good enough to win some games down the stretch. So this weekend will be a huge turning point for either the Browns or the Steelers, whoever is able to come away with a win. If it's, they'll obviously be close to the Ravens, who are trying to run away with this division, and I think the Bengals are just about toast at this point.
I mean, that's what it feels like for the Bengals. And honestly, when Deshaun Watson was announced out for the year, that's how I thought. I'm like, this is going to kill their season. But then you see what happens with Joe Burrow, and you remember the Bengals don't have the Browns defense. Like, there's going to be some games where the Browns defense just wins it for them. That's how Pittsburgh started this season off, with their defense winning games. And I think the same logic can apply to the Browns here. We're joined by Hayden Grove, our friend from Cleveland.com. Hayden, when I think about the injury report for Pittsburgh, no Minka Fitzpatrick, no Keanu Neal, no Montravis Adams, three really key components. Obviously, make a huge one of that defense. What's the injury report looking like for the Browns at this moment?
Currently, it'll be Marquise Goodwin is out with a concussion. Juan Thornhill is out, I think, with the leg issue. Other than that, DeJuan Jones looks like he's going to start at right tackle. Looks like it's Jerron Christian at left tackle. So it looks like that's about it. Michael Dunn also questionable. He's kind of a swing guard. But other than that, Browns are pretty healthy. I mean, unfortunately, like I said, they're healthy, but they lost Deshaun Watson. They've lost Jed Wills. They've lost Jack Conklin. They've lost Nick Chubb. I mean, they've lost a ton of players on this offense. So it's been an unfortunate string of injuries for Cleveland.
I mean, it's almost the opposite for the Steelers, because on the defense, no Cole Holcomb, no Quan Alexander, Minka's out, Neal's out. Like, it just feels like it's a mirror matchup in some ways with that offense and that defense. How can Dorian Thompson-Robinson pass effectively in this game? And what I mean by that is they're going to lean on the run, obviously, a lot. But what do you think is going to be the key for DTR to open up the field, so to speak, given, like, he's coming in off the bench essentially with a week of prep. He's a rookie guy. He has to face TJ Watt and Alex Highsmith in his face with bad wheels on the offensive line, essentially. What's going to be the key for DTR if he's going to have any sort of success this weekend?
You know, I think a lot, and I'm not talking about you in general. I'm just saying in general, I think a lot gets made about, like, oh, DTR is facing TJ Watt. He's not. DTR is facing, the Steelers defense as a whole, and DeJuan Jones is going to face TJ Watt, and Jerron Christian is going to take on Alex Highsmith. So DTR can't be worried about that. He can't be looking at number 99 saying, okay, or number 90, whoever, whatever it is, saying, okay, we're, TJ Watt's in my face. What am I going to do? What DTR has to do is get the ball out quickly, have faith in his receivers, have faith in the game plan. Kevin Stefanski's got to get him some easy, completions, some nice quick throws. Maybe it starts out slow offensively for the Browns, and that's okay. You'll rely on that defense to start the game. But get him that confidence, get him those throws, get him involved in the screen game a little bit. Let this thing open up a little bit. And, with more completions, you've heard it from every receiver. You'll hear it from every quarterback. Those early completions, those plays that, just, okay, you see the ball going to the guy's hands. That gives you confidence. And I think the whole thing with DTR at this point is confidence. He has confidence going into the game. But once you get into the game, once you get into the rhythm, you can get even more confidence by making those, those quick throws, those quick completions. So I think that's going to be the key for the Browns, getting the ball out quickly, using the screen game, and finding a way to just make himself get more confident. I see a comment there, the disrespect for TJ. I wasn't disrespecting TJ. I'm just saying, again, TJ's job is to get the quarterback, but the quarterback's job isn't to get TJ, right? So that's the job of the offensive lineman. So it's not DTR's job. DTR's job is to trust his offensive line that they will attack TJ.
This is a comment from Swan269 asks, did DTR have a good preseason in your mind? And how does he translate all that?
He had a great preseason. That's why he's their number 2 quarterback. They traded. Look how good Josh Dobbs is playing right now.
Right, I was going to say.
Josh Dobbs is playing out of his mind. I love Josh Dobbs. They traded Josh Dobbs because of the preseason that DTR had, because of the way they love him that much. So we can look hindsight and say, yes, it was probably not the best trade, and probably not even a good trade, probably a horrible trade. But the point being is that they still do have a lot of faith in DTR. Yes, he's a great runner. He's a playmaker, and he also has a good arm. So, I don't know what we're going to get from DTR. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, he's going to light it up. But the skills are there. The skill set is there. The tools are there. We'll see. We'll see how that goes. Yes, he said the jersey number is number 90. Right. I was thinking about his brother, number 99. But yes, TJ is number 90. Yes, correct.
99, 90. I mean, they're both
excellent. A lot of nines.
They're both. That's right. 99's Zadarius Smith. Look at that. 95 Myles Garrett. All right, Hayden, we appreciate you taking some time today to join us. It's going to be, I think it's going to be a rock fight of a football game, like typical AFC North fashion. It's going to be ugly. Whoever wins this is going to have to win ugly. Like, there's going to be turnovers, I feel. There's going to be some, like, head-scratching, what the hell's going on kind of plays. But, I mean, that's life in the AFC North. Do you want to wager a prediction while we're live on the air?
I'm not doing predictions this year, so I won't give you an actual predictions. I think I think is going to
my back, my friend.
I think you're right in that it's going to be a tough game. And I think both teams are really tough, and the Steelers are really well coached. They're always a tough team. They always have a great culture. I think the crowd is going to be absolutely amazing. I think Cleveland's crowd is going to be amazing on Saturday or on Sunday because they know how big of a game this is. They know how big the stakes are. You know, they're really kind of angry after the whole Deshaun Watson thing, and they're excited because of the win against Baltimore. So, you know, I think that I think it's just going to be close, and it's going to be a coin flip. And, you know, unfortunately, usually coin flips don't go in Cleveland's direction. So I might give you guys a little bit of an edge there. But this season's been different for Cleveland. Maybe they've made a couple more field goals. They've had a couple more lucky plays. So maybe the luck will be on Cleveland's side in this one.
And Dustin Hopkins has been a godsend.
He has.
Steelers Freak says 12-9, a Boz versus Hopkins special. So we'll see about that.
Boz and Hop, those are the guys.
I mean, I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be close and low scoring and just like an ugly, like, ew, like you want to like go brush your teeth after that game ends. You know, it's like you just ate like raw onions or something. That's what this game is. It's raw onions to me. Hayden, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for taking about 15 and giving some insight. We're going to sign off here on the Southside Beat. Remember, you can get us anytime on playback on DK Pittsburgh Sports on YouTube, also on Apple Podcasts, on Google Play, and Spotify. DK will be up in Cleveland for the game. I am taking Sunday off. Hayden, of course, will be there for his coverage on Cleveland.com. A lot of good stuff from him and, of course, Ashley Bastock and Mary Kay Cabot and the crew up there. They do a great job. So for Chris Halicke and our friend Hayden Grove, my name is Corey Crisan. This has been the Southside Beat on a Friday. Talk to you Monday. Cheers, everybody.